The question concerning the destruction of the Sears Tower first came to my attention in the summer of 2006. It was speculated that there would be a redirected attack on the Sears Tower. The information was sent digitally through the internet. 3 years later, in 2008, the desktop on my computer was taken over and put under the remote control of an unknown source, and what appeared in front of my desktop was a discrete message box with a retransmitted text message that had been sent in 2006. After that unforeseen event, I began to investigate the Sears Tower with information that might link it to a possible terrorist attack. What was discovered was quite astonishing. Back in 2006, the FBI arrested 7 suspects in Miami who were tried for charges of suspected terrorism with a plot to destroy the Sears Tower in Chicago. Of the 7 that were arrested, one stands out as the most interesting among them. Nazir Baptiste, the leader of the terrorist organization known as the Seas of David, was a local elder mason and construction worker. Further investigation also revealed that the World Trade Center was not only demolished with know-how by the U.S. government, but was also systematically engineered since its inception for that very purpose. A colloquial magazine article dated March 1974 in Architectural Records Building Type Study introducing the World Trade Center clearly alludes to prior knowledge. The author of that article writes, in reference to the tree-shaped ground-level columns that, in quota, in the process of keeping the building from looking gloomy and fearsome from the bottom, the architect has also made it look dangerously insubstantial. If the mind is led to think of delicate trees, then there's no reason why it won't also think of trees that come crashing down when their branches get too heavy. Whether this is cause for exhilaration or dread is up to the individual beholder as he stands in the plaza of the World Trade Center. It's unclear if the author of this article was divulging upon some prior knowledge of the fate of the Twin Towers, or whether his statements are simply a natural translate of a critical interpretation of how the towers were designed. Either way, it's undeniable that the architectural itinerary for the construction of the Twin Towers suggests a design emblematic of contemporary Freemasonry. The towers were not only intentionally demolished, they were designed and engineered so that they could be. Any caste or Masonic society competent enough to conspire an advanced plot requiring both bureaucrats and technocrats clearly are not mere social gatherings for the prestigious members of government, as is commonly believed, but function at higher and more integrated levels than their own roots in secret societies. Today, these societies organize their members into various international enclaves, including architects and security experts who collaborate in Masonic institutions that operate in the same manner as a business firm. The International Masonic Union Katina, for instance, only registers lodges that acknowledge a supreme being, or what Masons refer to as the great architect of the universe. The effect of social affiliation among Masons and elite religious groups has also contributed to the social relativism we have seen in all conventional brands of advertisement, media, reporting, and journalism. Likewise, we have manufactured the established coverage of 9/11 that blamed Al-Qaeda, lobbied national institutions, and effectively persuaded this mass cover-up. It's amazing how much more answers can be uncovered with the right investigative tools and resources. Perhaps the most conspicuous evidence that I came across was a monumental advertisement piece for a company called Republic Steel from 1974 that undoubtedly marks a foreknowledge reminiscent of the destruction of the Sears Tower. The heading of the piece reads, "Technical Knockouts." Republic Steel were commissioned to provide the steel framework for both the Twin Towers and the Sears Tower. The mammoth Sears Tower in Chicago and the Twin Towers of the Port of New York, New Jersey, World Trade Center, are unmatched architectural triumphs, each 110 stories high. each rendered durable and beautiful with Republic stainless steel. As you can see, the plaza of the World Trade Center at the top right of the publication also shows the Sears Tower at the bottom left. The question, of course, is why is this indicative of a future collapse of these two buildings? What the ad presents is not difficult to decipher. The giveaway is in the title, Technical Knockouts. This is a play on words and has a double meaning hidden behind it. It is a cliché of two modes of expression. The first and most obvious one is the one relating to elegance of the two buildings. They are both knockouts. Advertisers commonly use subliminal language that speak directly to subconscious human desires. They are both technical knockouts because they are both achievements of advanced technical skill. Beneath this subliminal twin use of semantics is the declarative meaning of a technical knockout or a TKO. A knockout or a KO is the term used for a decisive factor that determines whether a fighter in a game has won a match. In boxing, a full knockout is considered any legal strike or series of strikes that render the opponent unable to continue fighting. Single powerful blows to the head can produce a concussion and cause a KO. When an opponent falls to the ground, it's considered to be a direct knockout and the fighter has won a KO victory. However, a technical knockout, or TKO, is based on a technicality that the fighter can no longer fight even if he has not fallen to a concussion as a direct result of strikes by his opponent. Technical knockouts are recognized when a fighter is unable to continue fighting for medical reasons or if he's been knocked down with 3 consecutive strikes. The occurrence of 9/11 was not like a knockout but a technical knockout. The collapse of the two towers was not the result of the two planes hitting the two heads of the towers. In actuality, there had been technical devices detonated from inside the buildings. If the World Trade Center had fallen by the jet fuel melting the internal steel structure, then it would be similar to a direct knockout in a fighting match. One strike from above toppling the structure to the ground. In essence, what the public was told was that a KO had knocked down the towers when in fact the knockout of those two buildings was technical in nature. Consummately, the public believes they fell by airplanes, affecting the steel structure from top down, while the truth has been ruled out by a judicial and technicality, that of a majority alienated by the ideology of terrorism. With all this in mind, there must come other convictions, and it is believed, based on further evidence, that if the Sears to be bombarded by some affliction of force, given the identity of a terror attack, that this so-called attack will originate from within its own continental borders, with the idea that the citizens of those borders are perpetuating conflict against their own government, and that this poses as an inside threat to national security. Thus, it would be necessary for the current government to exert actions privatizing state interests, creating a police force infrastructure across various regions amounting to a unionization of state laws. It would also send an alert communication system so that the Department of Homeland Security can look for possible causes.